Hi, it's Handy Andy Tech Tips here. So the Pebble Time, which was released back in May, is a great smartwatch. It swapped the monochrome screen of the original Pebble for a full-colour e-paper display, and included a completely revamped operating system, but it has been the target of some criticism. For example, many people have called its design toy-like and geeky. In contrast, the Apple Watch has always been both a smartwatch and a fashion accessory. While a lot of the press attention surrounding it might have more to do with the Apple brand name than with the watch itself, it's still fair to say that the Apple Watch has received more positive feedback about its design than either the Pebble Time or the Pebble Time Steel. But now it seems like everything is about to change. Pebble have just announced the Time Round, which has a round display and is apparently the thinnest and lightest smartwatch in the world. So what does this mean for the Apple Watch? Let's do a head-to-head comparison. Firstly, let's look at the most important feature of any watch, the design. The new Pebble Time has a round case that is just 7.5mm thick and weighs 28 grams. The stainless steel case comes in 3 finishes: silver, black or rose gold, and it also comes in 2 sizes, with 20mm and 14mm straps available. The diameter of the watch itself is 38.5mm, which should mean that it's large enough to look impressive, but not so large that it looks out of place on your wrist. By contrast, the Apple Watch Sport, which is the closest in price to the Pebble Time Round, comes in 2 models, a 38mm and a 42mm. It has an aluminium case with your choice of silver or space grey finishes, and the thickness measures in at 10.5mm, which is 3mm more than the Pebble. Interestingly, even though the Pebble is made of stainless steel, it's roughly the same weight as the aluminium Apple Watch, which, depending on which model you choose, ranges between 25 grams and 30 grams. So we've looked at the cases, but what about the displays? Well, here's where the two watches really start to differ. The Apple Watch uses a touch-sensitive square OLED panel, and the Pebble Time Round has a non-touch sensitive e-paper display that appears to be round. Now, apart from the obvious difference in shape, the actual technology used for the displays is worlds apart. Due to the e-paper, the Pebble can only display 64 colours, while the Apple Watch has theoretically millions to choose from. Of course, the advantage of e-paper smartwatches in the past has been that their battery life is measured in days, not hours, but unfortunately the Pebble has had to compromise on battery size to achieve its ultra-thin chassis. You'll need to recharge it every 2 days, which is still better than the meagre 18-hour battery life of the Apple Watch, but it's actually nowhere near the 6 days of the original Pebble Time Steel. And now we get to a controversial feature of the Pebble Time Round, that bezel. Yep, it's quite large, and you'll either love it or hate it. My personal opinion is that if it was unfeasible to have a larger screen, Pebble should have made the case smaller. Because let's face it, unlike traditional watches, the bezel on a smartwatch really serves no real purpose. But even with a large border around it, the round Pebble still looks more like a traditional watch than the Apple Watch, and that's a good thing. You'll probably draw less attention to yourself when wearing the Pebble, and the fact that the display is always on means that it's easier to quickly glance at the time without tapping or shaking your watch. In the end, I suppose the choice between these two watches comes down to personal preference. If you have an iPhone, then the Apple Watch will still offer greater integration with iOS, but it has poor battery life and a relatively high price. Personally, if I had a choice between the $349 Apple Watch Sport and the $249 Pebble Time Round, I'd still choose the Pebble, despite its limitations. I'm Handy Andy Tech Tips, and thank you so much for watching my video. Please subscribe for more tech videos.